We've all been there, haven't we? You know, you're drowning in work or maybe struggling with something personal, just completely stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And that little thought pops up, maybe I should ask for help. But then, almost instantly, this huge wave of resistance washes over you.
Yeah, that's a really common feeling.
No, I should be able to do this. Asking means I'm weak, not good enough.
It's the strange paradox, right? We jump to help others, but asking for ourselves, we freeze.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating.
So today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. Why do we see asking for help this way? And we'll explore how actually embracing it isn't a weakness at all. It's a real strength, a key to growth, really, in all parts of life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's dig in. What is it about asking for help? Why does it feel so difficult sometimes? What's that barrier?
Well, it's like there's this invisible wall, Psychologically, it runs deep. A big part is vulnerability.
Vulnerability, yeah.
Asking for help, it just feels inherently vulnerable. It opens you up to, well, maybe getting rejected or being judged. And a lot of us have this mistaken belief deep down that we should be totally self-sufficient, that we should handle everything on our own.
Mm-hmm. The shoulds.
Exactly. So admitting you need help feels like you're failing that standard, like it's a sign of weakness or maybe even dependence.
I definitely recognize that feeling, that little voice saying, don't ask, you'll look stupid or, incompetent. It's a strong pull.
It really is. That fear of judgment is huge. Appearing incompetent, powerless, inferior. Those are powerful fears.
Yeah.
Think about the stories we tell ourselves, right? Oh, I don't want to be a burden, or I'll just figure it out, which can take forever. Or even that self-critical thought, I should already know how to do this.
Ugh, yes. The shoulds again.
It's often a mix of pride, maybe stubbornness too, and it can lead people to struggle alone for way too long, wasting time, energy, sometimes even money. There was this great example from a coach, Ashley Jansen, talking about literally crying on her stairs because she was so overwhelmed before she finally asked for help with, like, house cleaning. It sounds small, but that's the kind of breaking point people hit.
And the impact of holding back like that, it's not trivial, is it? It can lead to people just crumbling under the stress, trying to juggle everything alone at work or at home.
Absolutely. It becomes this incredibly isolating burden. And, it connects to wider societal pressures, too.
How so?
Well, think about traditional expectations for men, for instance. Often taught not to show vulnerability, right? Be the strong, silent type.
Right.
And for women in leadership, sometimes there's this pressure to be almost like a martyr, a fear that asking for help might undermine their authority somehow.
Interesting. So it affects different groups maybe differently, but the core resistance is there.
Definitely. We even see it in schools. Students sometimes see asking for help as like admitting defeat because our culture can be kind of obsessed with this idea of effortless success.
Effortless success.
Yeah.
Yeah, that resonates. So this mindset really holds us back, keeps us stuck. Okay, but despite all these reasons why we resist, all these deep-seated fears, here's where it gets really fascinating. Almost paradoxical, actually. What if that very thing we avoid asking for help actually makes us seem stronger, more capable, not just to ourselves, but in how others see us, too? Sounds backwards, but the research points that way.
It really does. It's a powerful shift in perspective. There was this study from Harvard Business School, a pretty significant one, that found something quite surprising.
Okay.
People actually perceive individuals who seek advice as being more competent, not less.
More competent. That completely flips the script on the fear of looking foolish.
Exactly. It directly challenges that common fear. That's the paradox we're talking about.
Okay, so that Harvard study is really counterintuitive. My gut reaction, and probably for many listeners too, is that asking makes you look like you don't know. So why? What's the psychology behind seeing advice seekers as more competent? Is it just flattering the person you ask, or is there more to it?
That's a great question. It's not just about ego stroking, although, yeah, that's a small part of it. But there are bigger things at play. First, asking for advice actually signals practical wisdom.
Practical wisdom.
Yeah, it shows you're smart enough to recognize what you don't know, right? And you're efficient. You're willing to gather information to make a better decision. It's seen as like a strategic move.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second, it demonstrates confidence. Think about it. You have to be willing to be a bit vulnerable, to take an interpersonal risk to ask.
Right.
That willingness itself signals strength. It shows you believe in your ability to learn and overcome the challenge. You're not afraid to admit a gap because you trust yourself to fill it.
Confidence through vulnerability. Interesting.
And yes, third, it does flatter the advisor's ego a bit. Being asked acknowledges their expertise. It makes them feel good, affirmed, like, oh, she thinks I know my stuff, or he was smart to ask me because I have valuable insight.
The Ben Franklin effect, kind of.
Exactly like the Ben Franklin effect. Doing you a favor makes them like you more. And it works even better when it's a direct personal ask.
That really changes things, doesn't it? Shifting the frame from I'm bothering them to I'm showing wisdom and confidence. But, okay, beyond just how others see us, what about the internal benefits, the personal gains from making this a habit? It feels like it goes deeper than just perception.
Oh, absolutely. It's huge. Asking for help is like fundamental for growth, both personal and professional. It's not just about fixing one problem. It's about building a growth mindset overall.
Okay.
And it really strengthens relationships. When you ask for help, you're actually building connection. You're fostering collaboration, creating empathy. You give someone else a chance to contribute, which honestly usually makes them feel good.
Yeah, it's nice to feel needed sometimes.
Exactly. Someone put it perfectly. It's nice to be needed. It builds this kind of social contract, this reciprocity. And maybe the biggest piece is embracing that vulnerability we talked about. Brené Brown talks about this, right? Vulnerability being the birthplace for joy, creativity, authenticity, and love. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to ask for help, you're actually exercising your emotional intelligence.
Oh, so?
Well, it boosts your mental and emotional health. It lets you process difficult emotions instead of bottling them up. And it builds resilience, that ability to cope with setbacks and bounce back stronger. Plus, you almost always get access to new ideas, different perspectives, solutions you'd never have thought of on your own.
It really clicks when you put it all together like that. And you see it with really successful people, don't you? They don't try to do it all alone. They build teams, networks, people who complement their skills.
Exactly. Even, superheroes in movies, they always have a support team, right? The tech guy, the strategist.
True. They rarely save the world totally solo. It just highlights how vital asking for help is for anyone trying to achieve something meaningful. So bringing this home for everyone listening.
Yeah.
What does this mean for you in your day-to-day life? How can you actually start building this asking for help muscle? Because it really does sound like a skill you can practice.
It absolutely is a skill. And like any skill, practice makes perfect, or at least much better. Okay, so some practical steps. First, you need to get better at just noticing the struggle earlier.
Okay, like self-awareness.
Exactly. Recognize when you're starting to feel stuck or overwhelmed before you hit that breaking point, before you're, metaphorically crying on the stairs. That building pressure, that nagging feeling, that's the signal. Pay attention earlier.
That image, crying on the stairs, it really does hit home. Many of us have probably had a version of that moment, right? Where the I have to do this alone mindset finally crumbles. What's going on mentally just before someone finally asks?
Well, often it's a bit of a cognitive trap. We're laser focused on the potential downside of asking, embarrassment, looking weak, whatever. And we completely ignore the very real, often mounting costs of not asking.
Like stress, burnout.
Exactly. Stress, burnout, wasted time, maybe even a worse outcome. Which brings us to the second step. Once you notice you're struggling, evaluate if it's really time to ask. Not every little hurdle needs help, right? Sometimes you just need a break or a fresh look.
Sure.
But ask yourself, is this taking up way too much time or energy? Do I actually lack the skill or info needed here? Would getting help lead to a much better, faster, or more creative result? If yes, then it's probably time. Okay, third step, and this one's a biggie for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Trust other people's boundaries. You have to operate from the assumption that most people are willing to help, and often they actually enjoy sharing their expertise.
Give them the chance to say yes or no.
Precisely. Give them the agency to decide. Don't assume you're automatically a burden. A genuine request allows for a no without it being a disaster. It's only an imposition if you treat it like a demand.
That's a really key distinction. We project our own feels onto them, thinking they'll judge us, but maybe they'd actually welcome the chance to help out.
Exactly right. Which leads nicely into number 4. Flip the script. Just take a second and think about how you feel when someone asks you for help. Usually it feels pretty good, right? Helpful, maybe even a little flattered.
Yeah, generally positive, not usually like an imposition.
Right. So try applying that same perspective when you're the one needing to ask. It can really help shift how you feel about it. 5th, weigh the potential consequences versus the benefits. Really challenge that worst-case scenario thinking. What's the absolute worst that happens if they say no?
You're basically back where you started. Still have to figure it out.
Exactly, or no worse off. But what's the potential upside if they say yes? You could get a fresh perspective, new ideas, finish faster, get emotional support. The potential gains almost always outweigh that fear of a no. Then, okay, when you actually make the ask, make it a genuine request without attachment. Be clear about what you need, but be genuinely okay if the answer is no. Don't take it personally.
So it's not a demand in disguise.
Precisely. If you find yourself getting upset or resentful if someone says no, it probably wasn't a true request. It was more like an expectation you had. A genuine request respects their ability to decline.
Right. It's about clearly stating a need, not imposing it, and trusting the relationship can handle either outcome. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then, assuming you get help, the next step is crucial. Be easy to support.
Ah, okay. What does that look like?
Be open to the feedback or help offered. Express real, specific gratitude, not just a quick thanks. And let them help in their own way. Don't try to micromanage the help you're getting.
Right. Make it a good experience for them, too.
Exactly. It makes them much more likely to want to help again. And finally, maybe counterintuitively, give generously yourself. Be the person who helps others without keeping score.
How does that help you ask for help?
It reinforces the value of support in your own mind and in your network. It creates this positive cycle. You build goodwill, and often that support finds its way back to you, maybe not from the same person, but it comes back. It builds a stronger, more supportive environment all around.
These are really practical, actionable steps for individuals.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. For people listening who are in leadership roles or part of a team, how do we create work environments where asking for help isn't just, okay, but actually expected, even celebrated? Because it's about culture too, right? Not just individual habits.
Oh, that's such a critical piece for any team or organization that wants to be resilient, adaptable, especially when things get tough. Research shows companies with that kind of helping culture are just stronger.
So how do you build that culture?
Well, the number one thing, absolutely crucial. Leaders have to model asking for help. You have to lead by example.
Walk the talk.
Exactly. Publicly admit when you don't know something, when you need input, when you need support from your team. Show that you need to figure things out sometimes, too. That makes it normal. It makes it safe.
Yeah, if the boss is doing it, it completely changes the dynamic. It's not weakness, it's just how things get done effectively.
Precisely. It builds psychological safety. Then you should build on existing strengths. Look at what your team already does well in terms of collaboration or support and intentionally amplify that. Name it, reinforce it.
Okay.
And, really importantly, reward help-seeking and collaboration. Don't just reward the solo heroic effort. Actively recognize people who ask for help and make sure team wins, collaborative achievements, get the spotlight. Show that's what you value. You also need to structure things to encourage engagement. Just having an open-door policy often isn't enough. It's too passive.
Right. It puts all the burden on the person needing help to initiate.
Exactly. Be more proactive. Offer specific help. Hey, want to spend 30 minutes looking at this together later? Or, like someone mentioned online, a tech lead set up dedicated office hours on their calendar just for team questions. Makes it easy to reach out.
Oh, that's a great idea, especially for remote teams.
Yeah. Another really smart tweak is broadening what counts as a blocker in daily stand-ups or check-ins.
Oh, so?
Often we think of blockers as just technical problems, right? Code won't compile, system down. But blocker could also be needing direction, needing clarity, needing a sounding board. Frame it that way. It legitimizes asking for help with the softer stuff, which is often just as critical.
That's really insightful. It validates needing guidance, not just fixing a technical glitch. Because sometimes the biggest obstacle is that lack of clarity.
Exactly. You can also encourage more peer-to-peer support. Maybe adapt the Ask Three Before Me idea from schools. Encourage folks to check with a couple of colleagues first. It builds shared knowledge and responsibility.
Spreads the expertise around.
Right. And don't forget the simple stuff. Actively build social connections on the team. Informal chats, team activities, whatever, helps break down those invisible barriers that might stop someone from just asking a quick question. And keep working to change the narrative. Consistently message, tell stories that asking for help is smart. It's strategic. It's a sign of strength and adaptability. Share examples of when asking for help led to a great outcome.
Make it the norm, the success story.
Yes. And finally, super important, protect your givers. The people on the team who are always helping everyone else. You need to make sure they feel empowered and encouraged to ask for help too so they don't burn out.
Right, because if your main helpers collapse, the whole system suffers.
Exactly. You need to sustain the sustainers.
Wow. Okay. What a fantastic deep dive. We've really taken apart those invisible walls, haven't we? Uncovered why asking for help feels hard, but also why it's actually this incredible source of strength. We've got practical steps for you, the listener, and strategies for leaders building better teams. It really seems clear now asking for help isn't a flaw at all. It's an act of strength, definitely. Self-awareness, courage, all of that.
And it ties back to that idea of vulnerability, doesn't it? It's not something to shy away from. It's really essential for, well, for meaningful human experience. Embracing it leads to more authenticity, more empathy, deeper connections, and that genuine resilience we all need, the ability to not just bounce back, but to actually grow from challenges.
So as we wrap up, here's something for you to think about. What's one challenge, big or small, that you're currently trying to muscle through alone, just carrying that weight by yourself?
Okay.
What if your next big step forward, that breakthrough insight, that feeling of relief, what if it's just one question away? Consider what you stand to gain, truly gain, by embracing this strength.